Let's just cut it to the nonsense. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. Let's go. Skip all the intros. Sorry about that. I had not one update, two updates, not just the road board forced an update. I had a Windows update. And so you know what happens when that happens. Everything breaks. So we're going to cross our fingers. We're live right now, and hopefully everything works. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm Michael Strange. Let's go. Okay, so it's been a rough run, guys. So I apologize for missing the shows and being flaky and all the things, but I promise at some point we'll get back to it and be as solid as I previously was. It's a lot going on right now. But okay, anyway, aside from that, I was just cruising through some stuff, and we had a great idea for last time. It was a really, really great show. But I didn't have a great angle. And so I cast it out to some friends, shout out friends, you know who you are. And I got some angles and was like, that's really good. We'll do that. And then when I got home, I saw this and was like, oh, hell no, we're definitely doing this. Cruising through my notes. Anyway, so it starts like this. Now, this is from Popular Mechanics. And the headline is this: a mushroom is sending hundreds of people to the hospital. They're all sharing the same bizarre hallucination. Yeah, seems fine, right? Until you hear what the hallucination is. The Substack tonight is very good. I encourage you to check it out, read up on it. Matter of fact, I'm going to read from it right now just a little bit so you can catch up and understand what the hell's going on, because this is a weird one. Not just weird. I think we do enough weird stuff here where when you say weird, you're like, yeah, we know, Mike, it's weird. But this is super weird because, here we go. I'm just going to read this. So, Every summer in China's Yunnan province, hundreds of people check into hospitals with the same complaint. They are seeing little people. Not metaphorical little people, not the suggestion of faces in peripheral vision or the vague sense of a presence in the room. They are seeing tiny, autonomous, fully realized humanoid figures marching across their dinner tables, scaling the walls of their kitchens, clinging to the legs of their furniture, and dancing in formation on the floor. Yep, the figures are colorfully dressed. They move with intention. They interact with the physical environment according to the laws of physics, climbing and leaping and occasionally detaching their own limbs in a cartoonish display that would be hilarious if it were not so profoundly unsettling. And in 96% of these cases, the cause is the same. The patient ate a mushroom called Lanmaoa asiatica, I think is how you say it. It's right there on the write-up. Where is it? Where am I? First paragraph, right? Yeah, there you go. There you go. So it's in the write-up. It's in that first paragraph on the bottom line. That's how you spell it. I don't know exactly how you say it. Anyway, so now this is not a fringe report from a single village. This is a pattern documented by hospitals across the entire Chinese province, repeated every mushroom season for years, confirmed by genetic sequencing, and now being studied at the University of Utah by a PhD candidate named Colin Domnauer, who has made it his mission to understand what is happening inside this fungus and what it can tell us about the human mind. Now, I'll mark that spot. We'll get back to it. But the weird, okay, so now this is entirely bizarre because think of it this way. When you're, you get sick, we react a certain way. Our body has an immune response. Okay, we have a fever. We do these things, right? We cough to kind of get rid of the bacteria. The viruses are, just our body reacts. But in this particular case, I'm calling this tonight the ELF frequency, a mushroom, a glitch, and the oldest encounter on Earth. Because isn't it bizarre that even, let's say that you're not a psychonaut. Shout out the psychonauts out there. Say you haven't touched mushrooms in your life. I haven't, by the way. I've said this before. Don't do drugs, kids, as a nice, preamble to all this. Don't do drugs. They're bad for you, et cetera, so on. But the thing here is that when people take this, they eat this mushroom and it's undercooked. That's the craziest part, is that when they eat this mushroom, it's edible. But if it's undercooked or not cooked at all, it's raw. This is when you get that bizarre effect of these little elves all over the place. And it's again, not just here, it happens wherever. And so, which means there's some level of underlying something that's going on with this, which doesn't make any sense, right? Am I right? It doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever, because why would it? I mean, our brains sort of reacting in a immune response way or whatever it is to this mushroom is showing up in all these not different ways, the same way to everybody, which is little marching elves all over the place, which is absurd, right? The absurdity of this is next level. But you know me, when I think about these ideas, I think about the question of why. So why would this be? Now, there's the stoned ape theory we've talked about in the past. There's all kinds of things that kind of fit into this, maybe the layer of why maybe this is sort of a primordial memory, perhaps, or something to that effect, right? So I don't really know what the answer here is, but that's the question. The question is, how come this is repeatable and the symptom is people see little tiny elves marching all over the place, underneath the tablecloth, on the tables, everywhere. You look up on the walls, they're climbing the walls. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Because it doesn't to me. Anyway, phone line, I don't even know about the phone line. Didn't have time to test it. Everything broke at the last second, so I'm sorry about that. But so we'll go without the phone line tonight. We'll just do Discord if you guys want to be part of the conversation. That's normally the phone number I would read, but instead just go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, and we'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Super simple. And because we started late, I'm going to just skip all the pleasantries and just go straight to James. What's up, James? Except pleasantries for James. Test 1, 2. I don't even know if we can hear you. I don't know if this is going to work. Apparently you can hear me. James, welcome to the joint. How are you tonight? What's on your mind, my man? Nothing. I knew it. I knew it. All right, hold on. Hold on. This could be my fault. One moment, please. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, see, all my outputs are gone. All right. Pro2 chat. Test. Whoa, there we go. Holy crap, that was loud. One moment, please. One moment. Let me adjust your volume. Can you hear me? Okay. We can now hear you. There you go. Live routing on a live show. Bingo. James, welcome to the joint. Apparently, we fixed it. Cross your fingers. I'm going to have to redo all this again, and this sucks because it's so much work to figure all this out. Anyway, James, welcome. Thank you for bearing with me and the gremlins tonight, the actual gremlins. Go ahead. What's on your mind, my man? I was about to just tell you. Hold on one second. We can't hear you. only I can hear you. Apparently, can you guys hear him on Discord? I guess we're the only ones who can hear him. Okay, let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, see what happens. This is the stuff that happens when everything breaks at the last second, and it's not the first time. So I'm not tripping too hard, but I don't like this. This is not. That's I like to bring a high quality product, and this is not that. This is not that. Okay, so it took away all my stuff. All my stuff that I set up is all gone now. Okay, hold on. So Pro 2 secondary test 1 2. James, are you there?
I'm here, and Discord says they can hear me fine. So
okay, and you are now coming through loud and clear out to the stream. So pick up where you started, pretty please, because they didn't hear you. I'll trim all that out. We'll fix it in post. James, welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? What's on your mind?
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here. And I'm glad to be here. I'm not joking about that. Just kind of funny doing that again. But yeah, I'm really wondering with this case, and I wonder how many others are similar, if in some cases when it comes to hallucinations, if it's not always just the mind making things up, and this is me bringing the whole paranormal aspect to all this, is it maybe a sort of a veil is being lifted? In other words, the changing of the person's actual physical state, their mind, the parts of their mind, or even just the atoms there. I'm not sure. I'm not a scientist in any way. Can that lead to access to being able to see through into other dimensions in some cases? And so I'm wondering, in other words, are all hallucinations made by the mind, or are some of them also just a case of more of a lifting of a veil than an actual completely made up thing within the person's mind, especially when it's something like this where it's happening over and over again?
Yeah, well said. I think that's the bizarre part of this to me, because clearly, like I said, we have a fever, we have these immune responses when we get sick. But in this case, it is a level of illness because you're eating it, undercooked or raw entirely, but you cook it and it doesn't have this effect on you. It's even a delicacy in this part of China, supposedly. I've never been there. What would I really know? I just read words on the interweb, but you get what I mean. And so if we have this thing that's not just recurring, but predictable, and they're studying it now to figure out what's going on, because they don't know, because this is not DMT. This is a mushroom that they eat, and it's delicious or whatever. But it's strange to me that as you're describing, I think maybe this is something to the effect of that lifting of a veil, and maybe that primordial memory. Maybe these are those entities. I always talk about primordial nature spirits. It is one of my sort of favorite pet theories when we have these conversations, that we have these not just primordial memories that go all the way back, but maybe, just maybe, it's kind of cooked into us in the way that we see them again, given the right circumstance, or given the right formula, or the right timing, or the right, in this case, ingesting the right undercooked mushroom, which is super weird. Again, this is not even doing drugs, guys. This is not DMT. This is not ayahuasca. It's not any of that stuff. This is not a psilocybin mushroom at all. And so still we have this bizarre effect as part of it. So I do wonder, and maybe you're onto something, James. This could be sort of a lifting of that veil, and maybe these entities are here all the time. And look, as well as I do, we've talked about this ad nauseum over the years, that every tradition the world over has stories of the little people, right? Menehune in Hawaii, gnomes and goblins, and you name it. They're all over the place. No matter where you go, folklore-wise, there's going to be these entities that are out there. So I don't know, man. Like maybe that is it. Maybe there's a lifting of a veil in that capacity, and maybe these things are here all the time, and we just need to be able to see them or to communicate. I mean, I don't know if they talk. Wouldn't that be wild if they talk back to you, like Darby O'Gill and the Little People? You guys ever remember that show? I'm going digging way deep for that one. But anyway, I love the theory there with the sort of a veil aspect to this. What else you got, my man?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely, I'm not putting down the science in this in any way either. It's just that I wonder, can it be both? In other words, can it be an actual physical reaction that is causing a sort of a paranormal side effect? Or again, I'm glad I finally came up with that word, that idea of a veil being lifted in a way, because when you shared it with me last night or the other night, I forget what night it was. Time is weird. And I couldn't figure out a word exactly what I wanted to say, but that just came up just now. And I think that's one of those things. I wonder, because I always think about how there are probably so many variables to why people have experiences that we just don't know, that we just haven't found yet. And I wonder if this is one that we now have just found recently. And just the little people thing, that's something that, yeah, it's not just through folklore, but also, as I said before in here, there's still current modern day sightings around the world. So it's really fascinating, that aspect of that being so close to something that people see without having ingested that mushroom in that case.
Yeah, definitely. Test 1, 2. Herschel says can't hear Mike. Is that? Hear me fine. Okay, all right. You guys are freaking me out. Okay. Anyway, sorry about all that. We're going to, again, get right back on the radio clock. I can hear the talker on YouTube. Sweet. All right, cool. What's up? Sound fine on YouTube? Okay, good. Appreciate the sound checks. Like I said, try and break everything just before a live show where audio routing is paramount, and you'll see. And like I said, I'm not tripping because it's happened before. It still sucks, and I'm sorry about that, but we're gonna limp on through it, right? Really? Okay, hear him on Rumble. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think I don't know, maybe refresh and stuff, because all my outputs look like they're going, like my audio meters are pumping here. So James is coming through. They hear him on Discord. I hear him. He's going out to the streams. What's up, Sylvain? I see that. I'll say hi in a second at the bottom of the hour. So we're going to get right back to the radio clock here, but we're starting with this idea. Again, James, thank you for being here. Amazing stuff. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. But again, a mushroom is sending hundreds of people to the hospital, and they're all sharing the same bizarre hallucination. And it's tiny elves. It's these little, we've heard this before with the DMT hyperspace and the clockwork elves and this type of stuff, which is fine. It's cool, right? That's one thing. That's a hallucinogen, or even, the most potent hallucinogen known to humans. But in this case, it's not. And they still see these bizarre elves. I wouldn't call them fractal elves in this case, right? Machine elves, but they still see elves. And you got to wonder, as James is describing, if there is a layer being removed of perception, those doors of perception that we always talk about. I don't know. And, not like you said, James kind of being self-deprecating there, kind of looking at this in a paranormal way. I don't know if you guys heard that. Maybe that was the silent take the first time through, but I don't think at all. I think this is the type of stuff that science is going to start to recognize, that maybe you peel back the layers of these perceptions, the filters that we have, and maybe this stuff is all over the place. Spiders crawling on the walls and all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know. I hope it doesn't get that weird, but yeah, appreciate you guys very much. If you want to be part of the conversation, phone line, I haven't even bothered to test. It's probably a disaster, so we're not going to do that. At Discord, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. About a minute left if you got anything else, James. Tons of stuff here to talk about. I'll get deep into it in the write-up. And looks like we got some hands up already in the Discord as well. We'll get to some other calls.
That's good. Yeah. I've always, it's funny because I never thought about a purely physical cause for some paranormal activity in this sense, especially in the sense of ingesting something. Whenever I'm thinking of all these things, I'm thinking more of some kind of energies that are affecting things. But so this makes me wonder, and I mean, I'm aware of the stone tape theory, not just the stoned ape theory, different things there. But I'm really fascinated to see what, as I always say, what does come from science throughout the years coming here, because I do agree. I think that over time they will find more and more things that maybe are more and more of those variables that explain why things happen when they do.
Well said. And I think that is probably the veil we should be paying most attention to right now, because with this AI acceleration I'm always on about, who knows what comes next? Maybe they find a way to put a couple drops of these in your wine when you have dinner, and the little elves are everywhere. I don't really know. What do you guys know about it? We're taking your calls, not on the phone line, but of course on Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Here with James Salcedo tonight, of course, the glue of the show. You know him, you love him, salcedoparanormal.com. Tonight we're talking, I'm calling it the elf frequency, a mushroom, a glitch, and the oldest encounter on Earth. And is it possible we're actually dealing with primordial nature spirits? I would read the phone line, but it is down. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got James, and is that roving fungus maybe? And your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds in just one moment. Be right back. My dials aren't even working. What the hell? Okay, here we go. Pray for me. Nothing's working. Oh, there it goes.
You're tuning into Troubled Minds, the show where mystery knows no bounds. Stay tuned for revelations that'll keep you questioning the fabric of reality.
Just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. I look for the invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, possible human immortality, and at the same time, appalling acts of brutality, genocide, race baiting, homophobia, famine, starvation. The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. You don't depart for the stars under calm and orderly conditions. It's a fire in a madhouse." And that's what we have, the fire in the madhouse at the end of time. This is what it's like when a species prepares to move on to the next dimension.
Super awesome. No, I can't stop it. My goodness gracious. Everything's broken. What's up? Hope everybody's well tonight. Herschel Apoc, I see that roving fungus coming up next. We got Matzo, Molly. What's up? Jorge, Joey, and Satya on the YouTube. Thanks again for being cool and chill and understanding as everything breaks here. What's up? Fred got first. As far as I can tell, blind slacking out. Eli, welcome back. What's going on, guys? Satya's over there. We got Jen. Good evening. Joey, don't panic on X. Hello. What is up, Shane? We got a Watchman 1399. That shroom would be frying the brains of the takers of it. Then, yeah, right? Totally. Yeah. I don't think it's McKenna's DMTLs. That's the weird part, right? So what is it? What is the issue here? Ioxy, what's up, Lars? I see ya. Hello. Over on Gordo, we got Karen's here. Good evening. We've got who else? Herschel, Puff sighting, Tyranny, No One. Good evening. Okay, here we go. I'll come back and say hi momentarily. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening now. I think if I can turn these buttons off and on. Okay, here we go. They're not. Nothing's working. All right. We'll fix it in post. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening. Maybe now. Where's the button? There it is. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, this is a doozy. Check it out. A mushroom is sending hundreds of people to the hospital. They're all sharing the same bizarre hallucinations. Now, what is that? No, it's not the machine elves of Terrence McKenna. This is actually small, little, tiny elves marching all over the dinner table, climbing up the walls, detaching parts of their body, dancing around as if they've been here joyously enjoying our company from the beginning of time. Now, the weird part is that this is, again, reproducible. These mushrooms, you eat them. Again, links are all in the description if you want to look into this. It is called Lanmaoa asiatica, I believe is how you say that. And it is a reproducible thing. And it doesn't matter what culture you're from. It doesn't matter whatever. You eat these things undercooked or raw, and you see these little elves marching all over the place. Now, what the hell is actually going on? What's your theory here? Because, of course, science doesn't have a clean one because it doesn't make any damn sense. How would this be reproducible across a wide variety of people, age groups, demographics, and, of course, culturally, if this was some sort of folklore fever dream or something? But it's not. So what the hell is actually happening? And, well, what do we expect to find when science gets to the bottom of it? That's that. I don't know the answers here, of course. You know me. I'm probably way more comfortable when the answers are too ambiguous to even grasp. But here we are talking about it. What do you know about it? How weird does this get? And what do we expect to find from something like this in the coming days, weeks, and years? The phone number is down if you want to be part of the conversation. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Hop on in here. Anything to add, James? And we'll go to Roving Fungus. Welcome back.
Oh, I'm just glad to be here and happy to listen in. I forgot to mention that last segment. And yeah, I'm just wondering, how many other things out there if that we have physical contact with can also cause those, and I know it's a sort of an overused word, and it's according to some people, but that veil to break down, or a veil. I don't even know if there's one veil necessarily. I'm not even sure about that so much anymore these days. So, and I'm just wondering about that. How many other items? Because I have a hard time believing that this will be the only item to do that, to have that kind of effect on people in all the world.
Oh yeah, I'll bet there's more. And imagine, so this is the natural version, right? So imagine we start messing with this, with the genes of the shroom here, and maybe it starts opening up other doorways. Like, who knows? Like, this may be sort of a new frontier in actual the science of the veil, right? Whatever that means to you out there. You know me. By the way, there's no truth to be found here. This is just ideas. I'm here talking about stuff, considering what might come next, trying to peer around corners, look over the horizon. So everybody relax. We can just defer truth, suspend our disbelief for a moment, and think about the wonderful, weird, and wild things that happen on planet Earth. I'd read the number, but it's broken at troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link, and we'll put you on the show. It's super simple as that. Let's go to Roving Fungus. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound great.
All right. Yeah, this is my first time calling in. I couldn't help but call in because of the topic. I'm very interested in mushrooms, as the name states.
I had a feeling.
I've done a lot of work with psilocybin mushrooms. My initial interest in looking for and studying psilocybin mushrooms was just their connection with making you see something that you don't normally see every day. It's really interesting to me that there is something out there that when you eat a mushroom, it triggers an altered state of consciousness. So at a really early age, I went and started identifying mushrooms. I've eaten a lot of psilocybin mushrooms, and I guess I can kind of back up and say that one of the most important indicators of a psilocybin mushroom is that when you pick it, it oxidizes blue. And that's because the psilocybin turns into psilocin, and in that process, there's a blue pigment that's released. And this isn't very well understood. Even Paul Stamets himself, who's one of the leading experts in mycology in America, he doesn't, he speaks on it. He says it's a co-degradation of a compound that's as of yet undiscovered.
Yes, which actually he made it into the write-up. And that's exactly the science. He's one of the guys doing the cutting edge science on this exact thing. And so what is it then? Like, this becomes the really weird part. And like, how much do you believe when it gets into stoned ape and some of this other stuff? We don't have to meander into that. You know a lot about this. This is right down your alley. Yeah. But I mean, have you heard of this one before? And does it surprise you that it affects everybody the same way in such a bizarre way? That's the weird part, huh?
I have heard about this, and it was extremely interesting to me when I heard about it, because I've always wanted to meet an entity. I've wanted to meet, a ghost or a spirit or a little person. And I learned a lot from Terence McKenna about the machine elves, and he makes it sound really really easy. He makes it sound like you're going to see the machine elves every time you do it. And for me, that's not the case. And even when I do and have done mushrooms, nothing I encounter feels authentically alien. It doesn't feel like something that's another entity. It just feels like something that my mind is creating. So these mushrooms are particularly interesting to me, and I'm curious about them. I'd like to try them. From the little bit of research that I've done, I believe that I found out that it's a bolete mushroom, a species of bolete. And boletes are interesting because they do turn blue, but they're not all boletes turn blue. Let me back up. Some boletes do oxidize blue, just like psilocybin mushrooms, but they're not known to contain psilocybin. So that pigment change, that blue, that oxidization is extremely interesting to me. The fact that psilocybin mushrooms do that, and this particular species of bolete, if I remember correctly, also oxidizes blue, although it doesn't contain psilocybin.
Yeah, so there's something else happening here that is still not just weird to us, strangers talking about this weird stuff. And I mean, we know each other, but strangers as a group talking about the strangest part of this, which is these elves. And isn't it bizarre too? So now when you go full DMT and the machine elf aspect, the Terence McKenna bit for this. But then this is not that at all. This is removed from that entirely. It doesn't give you that DMT or psilocybin effect. However, it brings to you some of the most bizarre aspects of it with, as you described, entities. And so I don't know, man. This is super weird to me. And like, how weird does it get? What's your idea or theory on this? And you don't have to be stupid and weird just because I asked you to be stupid and weird. Just what do you think is going on? Like this is just chock full of ideas that you could pack in there for all kinds of things, primordial nature spirits, like I said. But what's your best guess on this? Is it a veil thing, or do you think there's something in our metabolism or our actual body biology that I don't know, manifests this? I don't know. What's your take?
It's really hard to say. I'm curious about the effects of taking this mushroom with other things, like potentially like an MAOI inhibitor, which is something you would do when you do ayahuasca. MAO is monoamine oxidase. It's an enzyme. That enzyme is responsible for breaking things down. So when you do DMT, you have to restrict your diet because you don't want anything in you that monoamine oxidase is responsible for breaking down, because in order for ayahuasca to be orally active, you have to inhibit the monoamine oxidase. So you take an MAOI with the DMT, and that allows the DMT to work. So another really interesting thing is the times that I've done DMT, there was a channeler present in our group, and they claimed that they can channel messages from little people. And the little people that they named specifically were called the Contomble. And they said they're little people that live at the base of trees. And I believe this is some kind of tradition from Africa, the Contomble people, maybe South America. I'm not entirely sure where this tradition comes from, but this person that I sat in ceremony with was claiming to channel messages from little people during the ceremony.
That's wild. And it is this is a thing you hear too from people that do partake. As you'll hear, the mushroom told me. Terrence McKenna said that in that clip that I played kind of between the break there. And I wonder, right? I wonder if there's some level of that primordial communication happening in that the what is it called, the mycelium network. I mean, maybe this entity is sort of that Gaia hypothesis, and we can communicate directly, something like Avatar, right? We've talked about this in the past, where they can actually intertwine with nature, with physically, and be able to kind of commune with it, not indirectly through prayer or this type of stuff, but actually talk to the tree. Like, is this what's coming next? Because hell yeah, I'm here for it.
Well, so this is something I can speak on. Some of my favorite mushrooms are, I pick them wild. I pick them from the forest or the park. And so a lot of people who have said they've eaten mushrooms, they typically have only eaten one species of mushroom. It's called Psilocybe cubensis. And Psilocybe cubensis, it's the one that grows in tropical regions all around the world, from Texas to Thailand, Africa, all around the world. Every tropical region where there's cow poop, Psilocybe cubensis grows. So it's really easy to also make an artificial environment for them to grow, which is why people grow them in their closets. Now, Psilocybe cubensis has always provided me a very confusing trip. It's kind of itchy. It's kind of uncomfortable. It's hard to work out any kind of clear message. But one of my favorite mushrooms, it's known as Psilocybin cyanescens. It only grows in the Pacific Northwest. So far, people don't know how to artificially grow it, so it's not as widely distributed. This mushroom has a very clear message. I can hear it. It speaks to me like Terrence McKenna says. I've heard it tell me aphorisms. It tells me if one, then another. It's told me, it kind of explained that prayer doesn't have to be anything else but saying thank you in a very strange way. So I can definitely relate to that message that certain mushrooms have a clearer voice. And my favorite mushroom, Psilocybe cyanescens, has a very clear voice. You can communicate with it. Psilocybin cubensis, not so much. And going back to that blue, the name cyanescens, that specifically refers to that mushroom's blue pigment. There's also a mushroom called azure essence, and then there's cerulescence. So like a few of the psychoactive mushrooms are named after that quality of them turning blue when you pick them.
Yeah, all the shades of blue. Azure there, the cerulean, which is incredible to me. So we don't know what that is. Or do we know exactly what that is yet? Is that maybe the thing that makes this the strange part of the mushroom itself? Because some do, some don't, certain classes here. And the Pacific Northwest thing, I love that, because we're talking up near the redwoods, right? Is that where these things grow?
Yeah. A little bit further north. The redwoods are kind of Northern California. If you go up to Washington State, all the way down to Oregon, but even in California, in the Bay Area, cyanescens are known to grow. They typically, they don't grow in poop either. They grow in wood chips. So one of Paul Stamets's favorite things to say is that they ride on the path of human destruction. As we go and tear trees down, they grow out of those trees. So it's almost the trees that we chip and turn into wood chips. They can grow on that. So they almost are side by side with humans in our destructive paths. The more we destroy, the more they grow. So it's almost like they're offering some kind of, I don't know, modification on our behavior, maybe. Yeah,
some helping us out. And it's weird too, right? So think of it this way: in Stoned Ape, it's we chase the herd, and we kind of pick the mushrooms out of the poo, kind of led to consciousness. I don't know if you believe that or not. It's irrelevant. It just kind of bringing up the conversation, but it does bookend nicely with what you're describing. It's kind of like a cleanup, a cleanup of the human destructive aspect to maybe maybe it does follow us. Maybe it does find the things we've destroyed and then, kind of rewild the woods themselves. It gets me thinking about too, is that this type of stuff is as yet still Wild West when it comes to the bleeding edge of science and consciousness and this type of thing. But imagine if like these things grew up in, I don't know, Chernobyl, and we're supercharged. I'm sure there's like weird, wild stuff over there that you probably shouldn't eat because it'll make your teeth fall out. But you get what I mean. Like just kind of being able to kind of change the environment of how these things grow and whatever. Like I do wonder, like I said, when science gets the full grasp of this, how weird does this get? Do you think we'll be able to actually maybe through our antenna consciousness actually contact like the large consciousness? Do you think something like that is possible here?
I tell you what, I'm extremely interested and I would like to source this mushroom and try it myself. Now, I do remember reading that these hallucinations can last like a week. You can be seeing little people for like a week. So I don't take it lightly by any means. And I'm curious about the person that you named that is actively doing research on these. I want to do a little bit more research on who that is. And when I first found out about this, I was like, this is a PhD right here. You know what I mean? Like if you could actively figure this out and bring it to the world, that's worthy of a PhD, so it's something I would like to experience, honestly. Just to answer that question, is this real? Are we downloading? Is this some kind of magic key that opens a door? So yeah, I'm really excited about the topic. I appreciate you having me on.
No, thanks for always being here. You are as consistent as anybody and always hanging out with us and really into the ideas. So I'm glad you jumped in here. Long time, first time. Appreciate it very much. The guy's name is Domnauer, and it's in the write-up. So that's the guy that's kind of chasing down the science on this. I'm sure he's not the only one, but he's kind of taken the lead. And these, I was tracing these articles in the mass media, the zeitgeist, and they go back to about maybe September or October of last year. So this whole thing kind of hit new, and it's really swelling, and people are starting to make YouTube videos about it and stuff because it is wild. I don't know. It's a weird thing. And you were braver than I, because I'm not sure I could take a week of little people marching all over and hanging off the curtains and stuff like that. No, please, just somebody knock me out and come wake me up in a week, because that's just beyond terrifying. It's incredible. Fire stuff. What else you got regarding this or anything else? Go ahead.
I said it might be the best week you ever had. Who knows? I don't know. That's about all I have. I was just really excited to, be part, and I appreciate you having me on. Good show. Thanks for jumping in here. Do you have any projects you're working on? As you know, I like to, if you help me, I'd love to help you. So if you got some stuff you want me to share, let me know. We'll drop it in the Troubled Minds website, troubledminds.org/friends. If not, let's hope we inspire you to make something, because a lot of that has come out of these conversations. But either way, you tell me, and a pleasure, brother. Glad to actually talk to you. And thanks again for being cool and chill and hanging out with us. Absolutely. One of my only projects I've been thinking of is maybe putting on a GoPro and hanging out near Skinwalker Ranch, maybe eating some of my favorite mushrooms and filming whatever happens, and starting kind of a paranormal exploration channel. But that's just kind of a dream. It's nothing that I've actively started doing yet.
Yet. I like the yet. Okay, cool. You let me know when that happens, because I'm super interested and I'd love to talk about it with you and love to help you spread the word. Appreciate you very much. We'll talk to you soon, and don't be a stranger. First time. Now you're one of us and you can't escape. Have a great night. Thanks for the call.
Thanks again. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. That's a roving fungus on the Discord. And if you look, this is a perfect time to plug the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, you should. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. Come tell Roving what a great call. Yes, what a great call. That's the point of this. Like I said, getting together and talking about wild ideas with regular people. Regular people surprise you, surprise me, surprise all of us, because regular people are underrated. They don't get enough credit for knowing a ton of things, and we do know a ton of things. So yeah, super cool call. Amazing stuff. I love that the fact that he's way into this enough to explain stuff I've never heard of. I didn't know about the blues. I didn't know they were called that. That's incredible. James, anything on that? And we'll get back to the elves and all the rest as we go.
Yeah, great call. Good to hear. I actually think I'm pretty sure I got a chance to talk with Roving Fungus on a Discord chat one night somewhere a ways back. But and he brings up a couple. I mean, like I said, great call. Brings up a couple of things that to my mind that I'm wondering about now too is, and this is something I don't think it would probably take a little bit of getting around to trying to get to the people that had these experiences to ask them, when you saw all these little figures, did you get a sense that they were real? Get specific with sort of questioning and like, were you just seeing images of this, or did they seem like they had a presence and an awareness of you when they were moving around? Because I think that is an important thing, because I'm definitely, as always, not discounting the possibility of it being, again, simply within one's mind. But if there's these details that maybe are not as important when it comes to science as of yet, that are not being asked about, I'm really curious about what the answers would be. I think, and I lost my other point, so hopefully it'll come back to me later.
That's okay. It's words are hard and ideas are flitting, as they say when you're trying to talk on the cuff, off the cuff here. Fire stuff. Yeah. Look, this is, like I said, this is incredibly bizarre to me because it is reproducible. Shout out Kelly. He asked, so does this happen when they eat them raw? So yes, these mushrooms, and shout out to Mr. Duffy. These are those same mushrooms where they eat them undercooked or raw, and people see these little elves all over the place. Reproducible, absolutely happens when these mushrooms are in season in this one province in China. The ERs start filling up with people because they're actually seeing these things. And isn't that bizarre? Like, of all things, like I said, it'd be one thing if it's a fever. It's a one thing if you're dizzy or, hallucinating, I don't know, foggy vision or something, or, those types of things. But for crying out loud, a reproducible, absolute thing that is beyond what anything Terrence McKenna could come up with. I mean, maybe not, but you get what I mean, where these are not psilocybin. These are not the ones we expect. This is not DMT. These aren't those things at all. Well, are they? Are they? That becomes the weird part. So yeah, so if you cook them, no ill effects. If you eat them raw or undercooked, this is what happens. You start to see these tiny little elves running all over the place, which is incredible to me. So I don't know, like as usual, when we started tonight, James brought up the idea of maybe this being a thinning of the veil aspect for an individual, right? Kind of being able to be in two realms at the same time by ingesting the substance. And look, if you go all the way back, this is the shamanic journey. This is the type of stuff they talked about going back thousands of years with different substances and peyote and you name it, right? The world over, there's all kinds of things where they're trying to gain access to that space of being in two realms at the same time, the seen and the unseen, of course, Amun and Ra. And that's the point. The whole point is if you can be a master of those two realms, everything changes because you're no longer just a person, right? You're tuned into something cosmic, which in this case, are these little elves cosmic? Maybe. I dig it. I dig the idea that this is reproducible. And imagine when the science figures out what this is. It's so strange that it is, we see the same stuff. I don't know. I don't know. You got what you were thinking of, James? I got more stuff.
I do. It makes me wonder if the intensity of the, how do I want to say this? In the cases of DMT, psilocybin, whatever others out there, is the intensity or the strength of the atoms or the chemicals involved, whatever you want to call it, the structure involved or the effects involved, is that really what is causing these encounters? Because I always thought it was because of what I heard regarding the more sort of intense your experience, the easier it is to sort of have these encounters. But now I'm just wondering, do we have, as a species, do we have that wrong? Does it have to be that there have to be that much other things going on in the mind to have this happen? Is that what this case is showing us? Is that it doesn't have to be necessarily something that completely alters the mind in every way or in most ways to have a paranormal experience, if you want to call it that, or can it be just something? I mean, not to call this light or minor, but just the intensity of the other effects. Do they all have to be there for this kind of thing to happen? Because it doesn't seem like they do if this is the case.
Yeah, good questions all there. And when Roving Fungus 2 was talking about this, I meant to mention it, but I didn't say it. But what they call these little elves in China are xiao ren. If you want to look it up, there's a link in the down below. Do check the links out. Again, Lanmaoa asiatica, I believe is how you say this. And thank you, Satya, for pointing that out. And xiao ren. It's Xiao ren, and just like it sounds. So these are these tiny little elves. And wild that they have a very particular name of them, for them, right, in this particular province. It's just incredible to me that this is what we're dealing with. And still, as yet, right, like we know a lot about psilocybin, and we know a lot about all these other things, including, of course, using these as, treatments for all kinds of PTSD and depression and all kinds of, like, there's an exciting actual medical aspect of this coming up very, very soon here. But also, I mean, they're testing it now. But also beyond that, what comes next is these buttons not working. Hear that? There you go. All right, it works. What comes next is who knows? Because these things have been here forever. These again, the mushrooms predate us. So what the hell's going on with this? And why are people seeing these tiny elves when they eat these mushrooms undercooked or raw? Love to hear your thoughts. I'd read the number, but it's broken. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link. Be right back. More on the way. We're here with James Salcedo tonight, taking your calls on the Discord. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere.
This is Troubled Minds. Your host, Michael Strange, the master of the mysterious, is here to guide you through the shadows of the unexplained.
Let's check the news. A top hardware executive at OpenAI has resigned over the company's deal with the Pentagon. Caitlin Kalinowski, who led hardware development at the AI firm, posted on X that OpenAI moved too quickly in agreeing to deploy its AI models on classified Defense Department networks, without what she called clearly defined guardrails. Kalinowski expressed specific concern about the potential for surveillance of Americans without judicial oversight and lethal autonomous systems operating without human authorization. OpenAI has maintained that its policies explicitly prohibit use of its technology for domestic surveillance or autonomous weapons. Turning to medical science, researchers have reportedly succeeded in growing new teeth using stem cells, a development that could eventually offer an alternative to dental implants for patients who have lost teeth to injury or disease. Details on the timeline for clinical applications remain forthcoming. And in a story at the intersection of space biology and medicine, scientists studying viruses that infect bacteria aboard the International Space Station have found that the microgravity environment significantly alters how viruses and bacteria evolve together. A team from the University of Wisconsin-Madison tracked one such virus as it interacted with a common strain of gut bacteria in orbit, finding that while infection was dramatically slower in near weightlessness, it still occurred, and both organisms accumulated genetic mutations along paths not seen in Earth-based samples. Researchers believe the unique evolutionary pressures of spaceflight could yield new viral variants with novel capabilities, potentially offering fresh approaches in the global fight against antibiotic-resistant bacteria. The implications for medicine, both on Earth and in long-duration spaceflight, are still being assessed. Thanks for listening to the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Right. All of that. Sorry, it's old news because I can't upload anything to the board because everything's broken. What's up? Hope everybody's well tonight. Thanks again to James for jumping in here on short notice because everything was running late and being Johnny on the spot with some great takes. Thank you to Roving Fungus, long time, first time. Appreciate the call and the expertise. It opens my eyes to a lot of things that we don't know about the science of this. It's wild stuff. And who did I miss? Over to Rumble. What's up, guys? Raz, more machine than man, I hear. What's going on, guys? Puff, we got Gordo's over there. Good evening, guys. We got, who else? Troubled Minds. I see you over there. What's up? What's up, Mike? Hey, it's cool. North Vixen says, are they related to the DMT elves? And look, I can't see a reason why they wouldn't be. I think they're reaching a part of our brain where, this stuff is so baked into us that, maybe, right? It is separate and distinct, a different experience, but it certainly sounds like it's related in some degree. What's up? Who did I miss? Gordo Raz, I see a Puff. Good evening. Hello. Thanks for all the great chat over there, and thanks for being nice to each other. Like I said, it means a lot to me. Karen, how you doing? Good evening. Who did I miss? If I missed anybody on Rumble, just say hello. And yeah, wild stuff, huh? Who got first over there? I don't know. I started so late. Everything's a disaster in my mind. Okay. What's up, Jen, Mr. Duffy, Satya? I see you. So Satya, all you got to do on Discord is put your hand up. There's like a little hand icon. Just click that, and if you look at Matsal on the Discord right now, he's got his hand up. It'll put a little hand up at the icon, and then I will call you up, and you can talk about this stuff. So we got Matsal coming up next, more from James, and your calls as well. Weird stuff. There's a lot here that, like I said, look, I don't do mushrooms either. Like I haven't done them. I'm not interested in doing them really. It's just one of those things where the spookiness of this being repeatable, regardless of demographic, regardless of culture, is super wild when it comes to consciousness and the human brain. Like, I don't know how to define that other than saying it's really, really weird, because that's what it is. Who did I miss? Derek the Night Stalker, I see you there. What's up, Roving? Thanks for the call. Eli, I see you guys. Jen, okay, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up. Let's smash these buttons. Let's hit these things hard because it's not working. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right about, cross your fingers. Maybe now. Let's see. Welcome back to Troubled Minds, all the places, all the things. I'm Michael Strange. We're here talking the elf freak. Look, I'm calling this the elf frequency. A mushroom, a glitch, and the oldest encounter on Earth. Now, these mushrooms we're talking about tonight are clearly hallucinogens if they're undercooked, if they're raw. But if you cook them, and what are the names? The names of these things, let me read it, is Lanmaoa asiatica. Okay? All right. But if you eat them undercooked or raw, you see little elves running all over the place. And as Roving Fungus said, sometimes this lasts an entire week. Sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's minutes, sometimes it's days. And it gets wild. So what is going on with this? Clearly, like I said, there is some mechanism happening. And shout out Ioxy in the chat too, mentioned this. I wanted to mention this earlier, that when you take that, the purple, right, the Benadryl or whatever it is, they say that the Hat Man appears, okay? Like that aspect of this. It's weird that our mind's eye has a way of synthesizing these things and reproducing experiences. And look, I don't recommend that either. Like, don't do the things, it's bad for you, et cetera, so on. But it is one of those things that has been reproduced in different ways, and of course abused in different ways throughout the past modern space here, where the Hat Man has become a thing. Why though? Like, why does our mind and our consciousness pick up on a particular aspect of it and manifest it as entities? And in this case, little elves like 2 inches tall that are just all over the place. Like if I was on this stuff right now, they'd be climbing all over my monitors. They'd be climbing up the walls. They'd maybe be on my hands. You can't get rid of them. They're just all over the place, kind of marching. They're dancing. They're just doing jovial elf stuff like you might expect at Santa Claus's workshop on December 10th or something, right? Weird, super weird. But why? Why does our mind's eye manifest entities like this? And why is it very specific? That is the question. Super weird to me, super wild. I love the conversation. I love the idea. James, anything you got? And we'll go to Matt Sal on the Discord.
Well, just that I have heard and found random cases of people when they're sick, when they're having a fever or whatever, having sightings of figures, all different kinds. There's no unifying thing, but and in some rare cases, these figures are there and other people will see them too. And so I do wonder, is this, again, how much of what is we see when we are in a different state of mind, how much of that is our own mind and how much is something else when our mind is not the same as it usually is? And I think it can be both at the same time, to be honest, with a lot of this. So I think that's a fascinating part of all this too.
Yeah, as we learn more and more about consciousness and how scientific this space is of the weirdness, I think we're gonna. And this has been my prediction for 5 years or 6 years of doing this show, is that I think within our lifetimes, knock on wood, we last long enough to see it. Take every day. Don't take any days for granted. But given a normal lifespan, I think we're going to find some really shocking stuff about consciousness. And this is the type of thing that I really believe will be like, oh crap, maybe we have pierced the veil. Maybe these entities aren't an accident. Maybe the reason we're seeing them is because, dare I suggest, they're really there. Too weird? Not weird enough. I'd read the number, but it's broken. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Appreciate you, James. Unless you got anything else, let's go to Matt's out.
Nope. Let's go to the calls.
Do it. Let's go. Matthew in California. Temple of the Owl. Matt's out. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How are you tonight? And what is on your mind? Have you heard of this? What's up with the little elves? And what the hell's going on with these mushrooms? Make sure you cook them. The song I had, by the way, from Suno is very good. It's like I'll see if I can play it and have it come through anyway, yada, yada. I was only talking because you hadn't unmuted yet. Welcome, Matt, Sal. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound fantastic.
Yeah, this is a good one. Funny. It reminds me of the whole part about it not being cooked right. Reminds me of there's like a delicacy in, I think it's Japan, like a pufferfish. And if you have to have a chef that is certified to cook this meal. It's like a delicacy, and it's like the expensive fish dinner. If it's cooked right, it's a delicacy. But if the chef prepares it wrong, you could die. It's poison.
Yeah, you're dead. Yeah, that's a wild one. I look, I am not that adventurous where I trust a cook I do not know well enough to be like, let's go out and have this maybe deadly fish on Friday night. Nope, no thanks.
Yeah,
no thanks.
That's kind of what it reminds me of. Just the whole make sure you cook it, I guess. But I want to tell a story. I've seen these things before. The weird thing is, I have to say, what do I have to say? Disclaimer. Entertainment purposes only. Don't do drugs, kids. All as a kid, I experimented, and now as an adult, I'm kind of more like, microdosing, like trying different things. On the last caller, he was really good, very informative. But I was just kind of trying to experience it and trying to understand it. But the weird thing is that out of all my mushroom experiences, I've never seen these elves, but the one time I did see them was when I did LSD, which is weird. But this one time I was on LSD, and me and my friends were walking through this field, like a soccer field. And it's still light out. And I'm walking through, and I look down at the grass, and I notice there's people, like I would say like Smurfs, but they're little people in the grass, and they were the same color as the grass, like camouflaged. And it kind of reminded me of like the Predator. You know how the Predator kind of moves, and when he moves, you can see him. And there's a whole village of people going underneath my feet. And so as I saw them, I started to kind of step around them. And I was trying to like avoid them. But they just kept carrying on. Like there's just a blind giant walking through their realm. And they just kind of went around me. And so I was kind of stepping over them, trying not to step on them, and kind of trying not to interact with them. But they did not interact with me in any way. But the weird thing was, and then I look around, I see my friends walking the same way. Like they were seeing it too, and they were stepping over these little people on the ground. What do you think of that?
I think it's weird, man. Once again, right? Did you talk to them afterward, and did they corroborate that, or was it just sort of like the space, and then it was gone, and then it never kind of resurfaced? Did you corroborate?
Yeah, they So they saw little green people in the grass.
Okay. So they did. So it wasn't just walking weird. They saw what you saw. And so that's the thing, right? And oddly enough, this is one of those things that happens with, they say, ayahuasca, is everybody has the same trip. Like if you kind of do it together, everybody does see and experience similar things, almost as if consciousness merging, right? Sort of our mind's eyes are fixed and, it becomes a group collective instead. So that to me is not so shocking, but it's incredible that it's a completely different substance we're talking about. However, you're talking about little people in the grass. I mean, this sounds very, Smurfs or whatever. I mean, very going back to, primordial nature spirits, as I like to say, this type of stuff that people have been talking about forever. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me, but I do wonder what the hell's going on. And so clearly you're not doing that stuff anymore, like as you said, but I don't know. What's your theory? You think it is just a weird mind trip where this kind of comes out of us when you're in an altered state? Or do you think we are actually peeling back the veil in some capacity? And maybe, just maybe, the mycelium network is there trying to talk to us and maybe even manifesting something that we can relate to as these little humanoids. I don't know. How weird do we get?
Yeah, I think James was right on. I think it is lifting the veil and we're like crossing over into their realm, like bleeding into their realm, and they're always there. Like it, just like with all the other stuff, it's always there. What do you want to call it? Ghosts, demons, angels, monsters that go bump in the night. They're always there maybe on a different dimension. And these psychedelics can maybe help us bridge through our mind and bleed into their realm. And that's why we have these experiences. And so doing these kinds of things, experimenting with them, and the witches always use the 5-star flower, the 5-star flowers to induce the comas and to induce these altered states of consciousness. And they talk about the shamanic journey and all this. But I feel, and you said something else too that interested me about being on the same level. Like if everybody takes the same amount, and that if you've ever been to a party and one person is like too wasted, it's no fun. But if everyone's on the same level, it's it's like everyone's having the same kind of experience. But I believe that I believe it's always there, and we're just kind of like popping in on them when we take these psychedelics.
Yeah, kind of like that, as they describe. Like I don't know a ton about the DMT experience, but you listen to Joe Rogan talk about it. And, we've done shows on the past and even dug into some of the experiences that people have cataloged afterward. There's like a whole website that has, all this stuff. And it's so similar. It's all so similar, which is once again weird. I mean, we're talking about the human consciousness, our mind's eye. We're talking about, just look at like the surface level of people and personalities and this type of stuff. We're so different. It's so diverse and so bizarre about just everything about people, just our psychology. But then for whatever reason, all of that sort of melts away into a singular or very similar experience. It's spooky. It's spooky because you would expect sort of like a varied mix, but it seems to consolidate into this not one thing, but several things very similar. I don't know. It's a bizarre thing to me. And maybe this is that cutting edge of consciousness that we will learn about. And maybe my old theory of primordial nature spirits is coming true. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe with science and with like exploring it, I believe there's benefits to it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to explore, like the benefits of like microdosing. But one thing I did notice, one thing I would say about like with magic mushrooms is that as long as I've done them, like it's weird. It's the same feeling every time, no matter what mushroom it is. And so I'm wondering, what is it like? Is it one entity? Like they say the mycelium network, it's all connected. Is it like one entity? So no matter how much mushrooms you eat and what kind, it all kind of takes you to that same place, that same feeling. And I don't know how to explain that. Just as much as I've done that, it's the same every time. There's no difference to it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And it's going back to some place, like I call it a primordial place within us. You know, like you can kind of do the analogy of the vestigial tail or whatever. Like we've all got that in our DNA somewhere that just has kind of faded out. Again, depending on what you believe on this stuff, I'm not trying to, be a stickler or a non-weirdo. But I think there are definitely primordial parts of ourselves, very much like the lizard, right? The lizard brain, they say, that fight or flight mechanism, this type of stuff that manifests, that is not conducive to being a good modern human. It's just something that we can't shake, or at least for now. And so those types of things, when we're talking about these experiences, it doesn't surprise me that we remember things, and these memories and the things we see echo folklore and mythology that goes back forever, thousands and thousands of years, which is, again, why I'm here and why I'm fascinated with this stuff, because I think there's way more to those old stories than we give it credit for.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I feel like every time I have to say, do your research as much as you can, and just do research and learn. And that's kind of what we're all here, what we're all talking about. But I do feel that there's something there, and science eventually is going to come out with some things that will blow our minds, I guess. Well, thanks, Mike.
Amen. You were the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for the call. Tell Lacey we said hi. Always a pleasure. Have a great night. We love him. That is Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast. Matthew in California, affectionately Matt's Owl. Go check out his podcast, troubleminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says follow Matt's Owl here. Please do. He's as you can tell, a very smart guy. He's into this stuff deeply. And look, a lot of experience, a lot of different experiences from myself and maybe you and others. That's the point. Like I said, once you break down ideas and you get regular people talking to each other, you see how magical these things become. Wild stuff. One more time, templeoftheowl.com. Go give our friend Matt's Owl a follow in all the places, buy his merch, do the things, listen to the podcast. The podcast is magnificent, by the way. And I would be remiss if I don't mention he's got a massive collection of these esoteric books he's synthesizing into podcasts. Okay? Do yourself a favor. Go listen. Let's go to, I was going to read the phone number. Hang tight, James. Let's get to Satya in here. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. The phone number is down tonight. Sorry, Parker. Parker's like, I'll call. Sorry, you got to do it on Discord. Everything broke just before we started, so I didn't have time to test anything. So we're lucky we're even here tonight. But thanks for understanding. Let's go to Satya on the Discord. What is up, my man? I don't think we've ever had the pleasure of speaking, but welcome to Troubled Minds. All you got to do is unmute your mic, and you should be good to go. Welcome. You're on with Mike and James. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm quite old, older than anybody I've ever met on Discord, and have had a good long, life of experiencing psychedelics. And I would be interested, probably, even though I gave up taking psilocybin about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I might be interested in trying that one in China.
Yeah, right. Like I said, I'm really not interested in that experience. I'm fascinated by the things people talk about it. And again, from a consciousness aspect, right? But when I read this, I was like, now this is just too weird. I don't know. Like I said, it creeps me out, but also there's so much high strangeness happening in the mind's eye with this that what is it? I don't know. What's your take? I know you've heard of this, and you're like, I may, if I get a chance, you may try this, but what is happening? This is like the Smurfs, or this is like the Fey folk, or this is like, the hobbits of old or something. What the hell is actually happening?
Well, for me, the drive would be as a psychonaut, just to explore, to see an experience that I don't know. I'm not, I've never done DMT. But I've done numerous kinds of mushrooms, and I have definitely had shamanic experience with mushrooms.
Okay. And so what do you think is happening? Do you think it is, how mystical is it? Take the materialist and take sort of like the shaman that sees it a little bit differently and is trying to be in those two worlds at the same time. Where do you stand? Do you think it is more science, sort of our brain chemistry and our biology, or do you think there is something a little more metaphysical to the experience here?
Well, as an idealist, I take everything to consciousness being primary.
Okay. I dig that. I very much am in tune with that. So meaning that you think there's something to it, like these actual entities are there, maybe attached to that larger consciousness? Do you think that's, or am I misinterpreting what you said?
Well, by my experience, it's all to be had in experience. The shamanic experience I had was, I had a psychologist friend who was a psychonaut who used to travel to Central America and hang out with shamans down there. And he gave me this bag of cubensis, the only cubensis I ever ate. And it was a gigantic bag. And he said the person who gave it to him told him it was a shamanic dose. And so I put off taking it. And I tried to get a woman to share them with me one time, and that didn't happen. And so I was having kind of a crisis one night, and I thought, well, maybe I should eat those mushrooms. And I threw the I Ching on it, and it said, do what you want, but don't bother don't bother me anymore. It's basically what I said. But I went ahead and ate this whole gigantic bag of cubensis, and I definitely had a shamanic experience. And one of the earliest parts of the voyage was to encounter an acquaintance who had committed suicide 3 nights before. And he had put himself in like a hell situation. And I found him there. And I just said to him psychically, Larry, you don't have to do this. And it was like he let go, and he realized it was true, and ended that for him.
Okay, so you saved him. He actually didn't commit suicide?
No, he committed suicide, but he was. I'm pretty sure where I encountered him was in the astral plane.
I see.
He looked just like he always looked, but he was in a landscape that was amazing. I can't go into it; it's too detailed and take too long. But he was in terrible misery, and just my relating to him sort of it's like pathologic, I can't get the word, but just, my mind said, you don't have to do this. And he got it. And that night, it was a really long night, and it was a really amazing night. And my friend who gave me those wouldn't tell me who gave it to him. And then like a year or so later, I encountered him. I said, Jesus, that really was a psychedelic dose. And he says, well, that's what Terrence told me when he gave them to me.
The Terrence or another Terrence?
The Terrence.
Nice. I've heard that called a heroic dose. Yeah, I mean, and look, by the way, too, notice, I'm sorry about your friend. That's a terrible story. I don't mean to laugh in that capacity. And I want to bring it to bear the seriousness of this stuff. How, look, you got to be very careful. These things, all chemicals, all these things affect you in certain ways, and just be very cognizant of what's going on, because look, they can destroy your mind. Like I've met people that are, the burnout archetype of the psychonaut, and it is not pretty. So just be very careful. I'm sure you probably in some capacity agree with me here. You got to be very careful. Like I said, all the disclaimers apply. I don't recommend doing any of this stuff. Don't do drugs, kids, etc. So on. Like I said, I don't recommend it. That's that. Like not just cover us real quick, just not just cover us, sort of legally, but also morally. I mean, it's just important to mention. But go ahead, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, on that, I have an old saying. I recommend. I don't recommend 3 things to people, and that's psychedelics, motorcycles, and marriage.
And
it's everybody's own choice.
Amen. And I'm sure you get some laughs on that, because that hits a little different. I don't ride motorcycles. I don't do mushrooms, but I am married, so I can follow some logic there. And look, I mean that in the nicest way. I'm just saying that like these things are challenges. Like there are challenges in life that some people are up to and some people are not. And it's very important to recognize what's happening, control yourself, the Stoic mindset, as I always say, and just be careful. Don't go too hard too fast, because life comes at you faster than that. Fire stuff, brother. Glad to finally meet you. We got about a minute left. What else you got for us?
Well, I'd say I have a great respect for my psychedelic experiences, and they were definitely a part of a path that got me to a wonderful place here at 79 years old.
Amen. And glad to have you as a fellow troubled mind. And by the way, I think we need to vote Satya the oldest Discord user yet, right? 79. That's pretty damn good. And he's good at it. Like, hey, come on. Anybody can use Discord. Satya, you're a pro. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the great chat in the Discord. Look, if you guys haven't met Satya yet, come do that, please. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come chat with the man. He's sharing information and knowledge on all manner of wild ideas in the chat, and nobody's chatting back at him. Hey, except me and James sometimes and some other people. Get in here, join the conversation. It's not just this. You don't have to be on a microphone or a camera. Just come in and type, talk to us. Come share information and ideas. That's what this is all about. Satya, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for the call tonight. Thanks for sharing your experience, and look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a great night.
And there's voice channels too.
And there's voice channels too, if you want to hang out. Exactly. Those things happen. Come check out the Discord. Satya, a pleasure. And we'll be speaking with you soon as well. Have a great one. Appreciate the call. See, look, like I said, we're blessed with a ton of smart friends, and that's exactly the idea here. That's what it's always been, is to talk about incredible ideas with regular people and then realize that it's upside down. We're talking about ideas, regular ideas for the troubled mind with incredible people. Very simple, right? Thank you for being such smart people and understanding the ideas and caring about how complicated things can be. I'd read the number, but it's broken. Instead, troubledminds.org/friends. Help our friends. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got more from James. We got Derek the Night Stalker. We got Parker. And your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. This thing is so broken. What the hell? Okay, now nothing's working. All right, I'll be right back. If the music kicks on, fine. If it doesn't. Okay. See? I'm not tripping. Shit really is broken. Be right back. More Trouble Minds coming up. We'll fix it in post. What's up, guys? Hope everybody's well tonight. I don't know what happened. Look, okay, so two things updated tonight. The Rode board, my actual sound card, like the whole thing, the guts of the entire thing, the audio. And then also, so it was a forced update, and then also there was a Windows update too. So it all happened 15 minutes before the show. So I'm sorry about that. That super sucks, and it broke everything I had, but we were able to limp along and get it all together. And thanks again for all the smart friends we got calling in and making this fire. Who'd I miss? If I missed anybody in the chat, hello out there. I'm Mike. This is Troubled Minds. And we, Talk Wild Ideas by Dark of Night. Good evening, Mr. Duffy. Satya, thanks for the call. Nice to finally meet you and make your acquaintance there. Matt's out. Fantastic call as well. What's up? What's up, Roving Fungus? Fantastic call. And James, of course, always slaying it, the glue of the show. Good evening. Good evening. What's up? Jen is there. Good evening. Matt's out. Duffy, I see ya. Who did I miss? Have I missed anybody? Hello. Hello. Is Kick working? I think Kick might be working, right? No. Oh, crap. I have to, hold on. You got to set that one manually. Geez. I'm still working on it. Never mind. I'm not going to bore you with the details. All right. Kick is not working. Okay. Anyway. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up. We got more from James. We got Parker and your calls as well. Phone line is down. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and, the Discord, and come say hi. Come meet these amazing people. And like I said, this is true that, you see how amazing these people are on Discord here and on the calls. But like I said, these people are way more amazing kind of outside the format of the show. So come hang out, come meet these people. The lurkers, shout out Jay in New York. Yeah, there's a lot of people hang out and, maybe don't chat so much, but they do certainly lurk. How you doing? What's up, Kelly Herschel? I see you. What's up, Matt Sal? Thanks for the call. APOC. What's up, Joey? Parker, Satya, Roving Fungus. Great calls, gentlemen. And Matt Sal as well. What's up, Lily, Chef Pete, Molly, and who is that? I don't know who that is. Let's find out. I got a lot to remember. That's Mr. Bird has returned. What's up, Mr. Bird? At my elementary school, there was a Mr. Bird. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. Trouble Minds happening now. We'll go a little long to get all the calls in because we started late because things were broken. All right, here we go. Starting Trouble Minds now. Cross your fingers. Something happens when I press buttons. Otherwise, we'll fix it in post. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, we're taking your calls as I'm calling this the ELF frequency. A mushroom, a glitch, and the oldest encounter on Earth, because we're talking about this bizarre mushroom. Look, it's called this. What is it? Lanmaoa asiatica. Yeah, right? Super cool. Seems easy, right? But it is a hallucinogenic bolete mushroom. Is that how you say that? Shout out Roving Fungus for teaching me how to say that. Look, I don't know. I'm not a scientist here. I have no experience with this stuff. But like I said, I do believe there's something happening with our consciousness and the larger concept of this together. I don't know why. The mycelium network, once again, is it trying to speak to us somehow? I mean, and that would be, as I've always said in the long space of this, the long, great conversation we've had over the years on this show, is one of my favorite ideas, is that we have a primordial nature spirit, the spirit of Mother Earth herself, that has been here, seeding maybe consciousness and being a proto-consciousness that is still here, expecting contact at some point. And maybe these are the glimpses we get of it. Imagine when an entity the size of the Earth and the mycelium network itself, which is incredibly large, starts to talk. But not speak, of course. Speak through the mind's eye. What does it look like? And these particular mushrooms, people take them, again, if they're undercooked or raw, they see little tiny 2-inch elves all over the place. On the table, under the tablecloth, climbing up the walls, marching around, dancing, doing all the things you would expect from little tiny Santa-like elves. But why elves? Why does it go back hundreds and thousands of years, and how weird does it get through the mind's eye and consciousness itself? I'd read the number, but it's broken. Instead, troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. Anything to add to any of that, James? And we'll go to Derek the Night Stalker. Sneaking up on my buddy James. Test 1 2.
How about now?
Better.
Okay. I did want to agree with Matt Sal when he was talking about everything sort of just being here already, and just maybe coming and going, and we never know when or where it is. But just it seems like no matter where you go, there's people have experiences with weird things all the time, and it's just a matter of when and where, and how often we notice them and how often we don't. And so it's just if you try to look up all the haunted places, for example, in one area, you will never get the same list over and over and over again. Believe me, I've done that before.
Yeah, which is awesome because of course there's all these frequencies rolling all the time, and it depends on what's kind of in our wheelhouse for the zeitgeist in the moment, which we talk about too. The of course synchromistic aspect of all this, which is a good time to actually what's up, brother? Welcome to Troubled Minds.
You.
Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. What's up, man? Thanks for being patient. How you doing? I thought this one might get you. What's going on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry about the audio's a disaster tonight. But yeah, we got the song in. I literally hit the button and I was like, maybe nothing will happen, and it played. So hey, welcome to the joy. How you feeling, brother? Go right ahead. What you got for us?
Good. Not too bad. Busy night tonight, but great calls, everybody. Awesome stuff so far. First question is you mentioned Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Is that the one where at the end, the kind of the big bad at the end is is the Banshee? It's the Banshee, and it's kind of this these horses and skeletons riding through the sky, kind of at the end. Is that kind of how the climax goes?
You know what? It's so old, I don't remember. I really don't remember. Yeah. It was something I saw when I was like 5 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, there was one there's one Leprechaun movie, and I think it might be that used to get played on Disney Channel all the time when I was a kid in the 90s. And then once they made Luck of the Irish on Disney Channel in 2001, they just stopped playing it, and nobody remembers it besides me. And I bring it up all the time because of the Banshee thing. It's the Banshee, and I don't know. You might know. It might be. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah. I wish I was a little more versed in that because it seems incredibly relevant at this point.
First, how delicious if these things are they make you trip when they're uncooked, and then if they're like a little bit cooked, you can still trip. But if you cook them, they do nothing. How tasty, how delicious do these things have to be for people to cook these things? I mean, what are they doing? Imagine taking a bunch of weed and taking the trippiness out of it. Are they delicious? I mean, it must be delicious to sacrifice that. Did you mention that at all?
No, yeah, that's the thing. I didn't find anything on the flavor palette. Nothing. I'm not exactly sure. But here's the thing too. Again, shout out Roving Fungus. He was saying it can be a literally mortifying experience and last way longer than you want. I mean, imagine you got to go to work tomorrow and you're like, you know what? I'm going to undercook these shrooms.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
There's 3 days later and you're stocking shelves and there's elves everywhere. I mean, ooh.
The elf stalkers. That'd be nice. Yeah, I don't know. The food poisoning. I got a bunch of notes here. So I'm gonna try to be quick because there's another caller after me. But the food poisoning thing, it's weird. I mean, there's other things that we eat that can give us food poisoning accidentally. There's scombroid poisoning, which is histamine in fish. If fish are cooked wrong, it's this histamine reaction that can make you hallucinate. Same with shellfish. And obviously there's the ergot, that if ergot, the fungus that's in is some kind of cordyceps, whatever, in ergot, if it's prepared wrong, if something happens to it, it can make you trip out. And that's the Salem witch trials and all the crazy stuff. But the difference is, I guess we understand the psychoactive element in these things that happen accidentally. And the mystery with this one, I guess, is they don't. That's kind of the big thing, is they can't identify. I was looking at it very, very briefly, and it said, one of the articles said that Albert Hoffman, the guy who synthesized LSD for the first time, used it, created it, using psilocybin and trying to synthesize something out of that. And he was also brought these mushrooms too, and which apparently is a very distant relative of Amanita muscaria. But nothing happened. He ended up being I couldn't do it. I couldn't get anything out of it. But people are aware of this thing, I guess. And it says that there's other types of this mushroom. While China's Yunnan province is the global center of these reports with little people visions, this phenomena is not exclusive to China. Recent genetic testing and research have shown that some mushroom, Lanmaoa asiatica, like you said, is responsible for similar events in other regions. In remote northern Cordillera, indigenous communities collect a wild mushroom they call sedesma. Genetic analysis has confirmed that this is the exact same species as the one found in China. Local lore involved describes visions of tiny human-like spirits called Insisit. Historically, outsiders in the 1930s documented tribal members consuming a mushroom called Nanda that caused sudden behavioral changes. Modern researchers believe it is also the same species. And they describe descriptions of tiny people with mushrooms on their faces that are nearly identical to those in Yunnan. China, which is weird. I mean, we can get into like why this is happening and stuff, but it just seems like, yeah, I mean, this is just added to the list of buttons that humans can press to have some kind of weird reaction. You know, we just didn't know about this one before, I guess.
Yeah, and the consciousness, the mind's eye. And from what I can find too, this goes back about 15 or 18 years or so. So I think this is a new phenomenon, or maybe not, as usual, right? Like these are the types of things where we're like, oh, look, science found this. And then, you know, the shaman of old are like, no crap. like we've been trying to tell you guys, but okay, fine. You know, science found this. So, I mean, but it is weird, right? Like, again, cross-culturally, different demographics, it doesn't quite matter. And people still see these little crazy elves, these little 2-inch elves running around on the table and stuff. It's just a weird part of it. It's like, how does that happen in a collective subconscious? How does it happen in the zeitgeist? How does it happen in, as we talk about the noosphere of ideas, that no matter what, you consume it the same way and you get the same result? It seems almost as if there's something way more spooky going on with this.
Yeah, like it's some kind of base programming, some kind of weird thing. Like I love McKenna's, it's a communication device type thing. And I have some quotes on that and stuff. But like a lot of, when people talk about the machine elves and stuff, a lot of what they're doing, the reaction that they get is kind of, oh wow, you're here. They're kind of surprised to see you. Like you're not central to the experience. These things are kind of around tinkering and stuff, with like building reality all around us, and they're kind of surprised to see us when you pop into them. So maybe this elf frequency you're talking about is we're turning into kind of their lunch break and their playtime and stuff, or we're turning into just it's not a full experience and it's just like a one layer. So rather than seeing them tinkering and making mechanisms, we kind of see them more playing in our reality, kind of just like it's the veil hasn't fully fall down, or like less of the veil. All we're kind of seeing is, well, there's something goofy and something weird. But the way they describe it as using like real world physics and kind of interacting with the real world, like with your spoons and stuff, and like hopping on tables and kind of, I don't know, it just reminds me of, it's real Disney style. I have a couple quotes here I can kind of read real quick to get us into the why this is all happening aspect of it.
Yeah, love to hear it. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is all from McKenna. The mushrooms are telling us something. They're telling us to pay attention to the boundaries of our reality. Psilocybin is a very powerful tool for exploring the interior, for exploring the collective unconscious, for exploring the boundaries of reality. The mushroom is a shortcut to the other world, a doorway to collective unconsciousness. Hallucinations are not a defect of the brain; they're a hidden function of the brain. That's kind of like the button. This is some kind of thing that is just native to us. We just don't understand it. But humans have kind of been pressing the buttons a little bit, and we're kind of figuring out what these buttons do more. The mushroom is not a hallucination. It's a revelator of the hidden world that is always present. The mushroom is the entity that will allow us to communicate with the alien other, the other that's been trying to get through us.
Oops. Still there? I'll tell the real quick on the word revelator. Shout out 40s if you're out there. He used to call me the revelator. Now I know why. Too weird.
In the interface.
Yeah, you're good. So we got the first quote and we got halfway into the second one and it cut. But welcome back. And it's okay. Don't feel bad. Tonight's a glitch city, so it's probably me. Are you there?
Okay. I was having some internet problems earlier, but I thought I fixed it. I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna rattle through them real quick. It's a tool for ET communication. It's a phone that's always been ringing for a long time. We're finally answering it. It's a hyperdimensional antenna. When you take it, you're tuning into a frequency that's always been there. The other is trying to talk to us, and the mushroom is the channel, the interface between our world and the hyperspace of imagination. Mushroom is a spaceship. It's taking us on the journey to the other world. The mushroom is it's a teacher. It's teaching us how to navigate hyperspace of imagination. It's a biochemical key to the galactic library that's been in plans all along. We're not alone in this universe, and the mushroom is proof of that, and it's been trying to tell us something for a long time. So, and I think it's cool when you tie it into kind of the panspermia aspect of it, is that kind of whatever is coaxing humanity to do something, or whatever is kind of some guiding hand behind us, it uses this to, this is like just some kind of natural mechanism that allows some type of new instruction, this new download or new whatever. I'm afraid of the internet, but so what do you think about that?
No, you're good.
Stop talking for a second.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think that the panspermia bit there is really prescient because again, moving into the realm where we're discovering all these interstellar visitors coming through, Oumuamua, a 3-eye atlas, the two big famous ones, was another one between. But I mean, that type of stuff now is commonplace. We just kind of, maybe, technologically we spotted them in the days of yore and they created mythologies or they created whatever they created. But now we're like, okay, so this thing is passing through and it's never coming back. And it passed close enough into the earth to kind of, drop some of that dust, the magic elf dust on us or whatever, right? Like this is the type of stuff when you think of it in terms of like the larger aspect of not just the biological human interface, but then also the larger aspect of consciousness itself, where that comes from. I don't know, man. Like it doesn't surprise me that maybe, we find a planet somewhere out there where it's, completely inhabited by elves. That's what really the point.
Exactly. I mean, it seems to be a great way to communicate with something non-local, some kind of communicate. If you're that AI octopus in the center of the galaxy, if you're not traveling to populate the universe or to dominate the universe, you're just sending out waves of the building blocks of life until primitive life pops up, and then you send out a wave of spores that will come and act as communication device. And once they start to communicate, they build all these temples and structures that allow amplified communication. And every time they take it, they're given the next part of the blueprint in order to create the Stargate or whatever it is and stuff. Two quick points to what Roving Fungus was talking about how these things are popping up around destroyed areas, and maybe they're used to, like, once we destroy something, these things are kind of appear so that we kind of change the way we're operating. I think that's really super interesting. And is that what's happening, or is it maybe the opposite? And it's kind of like some kind of video game Mario Brothers reward system where we like break a block and a mushroom pops out and we get some kind of power upgrade or some kind of power up, like, oh, mission accomplished. You destroyed nature. Here's the next like phone call for your instructions of the technology to build this like machine you're going to make or whatever. Like, are we sure it's Gaia talking to us to be nice, or something off-world that is panspermia talking to us and saying, mission accomplished, you destroyed the nature, now here you, like, here's the next thing. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely. It seems cyclical to me, almost as if we get, kind of after a nice rain, it just smells nice out there. I think, like after humanity's gone, it's nice to think that there's going to be these lovely mushrooms that kind of come behind us and just clean up our mess.
Yeah. Just real quick, for anyone that's played the Mario Brothers games, more than one of them, there's versions of them where the mushrooms are not always good.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. And I mean, even if they are good, the way you get them, that's true. And the way you get them is not always. I mean, it's good in the game. Like, it's in order for you to accomplish your task, you need these upgrades. But if you're one of these little, what are they? Little Koopas, little imps, one of those little like owl-looking things that you crush down, those little simple ones. Like, if you're one of them, Mario is a villain, and in order to get for Mario to get these power ups, you're destroying. You're taking a life of these creatures, or you're destroying these blocks, these structures. I'm
going to show my age.
Or you're hitting your head on the block.
Yeah,
hitting your head on the block. Yeah, exactly. Whacking your head off something.
The basic. You're good. The basic mushrooms from Super Mario Brothers were called Goombas. Showing my age. Anyway. Yeah.
So, I mean, you just got to destroy all this stuff. You got to like destroy a turtle in order to get some kind of power up. You got to destroy nature in order to get the next part of the code and stuff. And just as far as us all getting similar experiences, like if this is some new psychedelic, how come everybody's saying the same exact thing? There's just this new thing that's going around, relatively new, about Danny Goler, the filmmaker and researcher, claims to have discovered a way to see a hidden code of reality using a diffracted laser and DMT. He describes it that the code is resembling Japanese katakana characters and stable geometric structures, which he believes can be proof that we live in a simulated reality, echoing themes in the Matrix. Goler's experiment involves shining a red laser onto a surface under the influence of DMT, and he says that over 180 people have replicated the experience, seeing similar patterns. He's documented his finding on YouTube and other platforms, sparking debate about the nature of reality. And I've seen a bunch of clips of this guy, basically like, yeah, anyone can do this. If you take some DMT, shine a laser at an angle, kind of stare at it at an angle, like within the laser, you see this code, like not Matrix code, but numbers and weird like symbols and stuff, and people are kind of experiencing the same thing. So that's like some kind of weird button you can press using psychedelics and technology and whatever, and if replicated, you can have the same exact experience. So there's some kind of something that there's all kind of tools laid out all over the game board, and we could potentially pick them up and who are they from? What are they for? And yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm afraid of my internet. And there's another call behind, so
No, you're good.
I'll hop off. But
You're good. You're good. There's one thing before you go. It's like a sort of that what you just described,
Yeah.
being able to kind of see like sigils or symbols or whatever it is, kind of like maybe getting a glimpse of the runes, like the actual like code
Yeah.
structure of the universe itself, which again is written into the Norse, right? With Odin, the Allfather, right? The whole bit. He goes into the other realm. They kill him specifically so he can experience it, and he comes back with the runes, which are like the cheat codes to all of reality. I mean,
the game, yeah, exactly.
And thinking that maybe you could glimpse that some way is just a wild concept entirely, because all those old stories start to make sense in you know in a digital realm.
Yeah, and even like those like Solomonic sigils, or kind of the Enochian sigils and stuff, the ones that you see the memes of all the sigils that are inside computers and stuff, those kind of shapes. Similar to that, where these are communication devices that these Enochian keys and stuff are things that you do in order to make contact again. So it's like we're being given new means to establish even deeper contact or something like something. Maybe that's kind of McKenna's idea of it. It's like it's this weird thing, like it's making you have an experience, but the intention of it is something is trying to talk to you, and it's like as we progress, and understand it more, then the conversation gets deeper and deeper. Potentially, we're just I don't know. There's a lot of implications, good and bad, with that. But we'll leave that for another time. Thank you, guys. Great show.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. You know, we love him. Derek the Night Stalker. Give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says Night Stalker. Go follow his YouTube channel. It's totally free, and he's amazing. Look, like I said, we're a special group here. We have such smart friends that can look at the world in so many different ways. And the whole point is to help each other. The whole point is to talk to each other. The whole point is to recognize that we're different. We're also the same. So please go give him a follow. It's free. troubledminds.org/friends. And follow Derek. Follow all the people while you're down there. Fire stuff. Appreciate you hanging out tonight, James. Anything to add real quick? And we'll go to Parker and then wrap this up.
No, just sorry for interrupting there, but I had to because the Mario stuff. I mean, that could probably be a whole show. Honestly, all the weird stuff with Mario and all those games and I don't know. It could probably be a whole show. But anyway, great to hear from Derek as always.
Yeah, we'll get back to the Goombas at some point because I think, interestingly enough, when you wrap the simulation around your head and go back to Super Mario Brothers, probably the biggest 8-bit game ever made. It's got the Goombas in there. There's a lot of mushrooms in that, and don't forget Bowser and the dragons and the spikes and the turtles. It's very Land of the Lost. it's very bizarre, and it makes you wonder what the hell they were on. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Reptilians, and some of them have hammers, some of them spit fire. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird. It's super weird. Love to hear your thoughts. We're talking this wild. I'm calling it the elf frequency, and that makes sense, right? Certainly, this mushroom that people take, and if it's undercooked or if it's raw, they see these tiny elves running all over the place, and sometimes it'll last up to a week, which is terrifying. What does it mean? Go to Parker. Parker on the Discord. What's up, brother? We can hear you. You were on the thing. Go right ahead. Thanks for being patient.
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me? How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Can hear you just fine.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Discord works great. So I'm awesome talk by the previous guy. What was his name? Sorry, I just forgot. He dropped out, I think.
That's Derek.
Oh, yeah, he was great. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate that. I love what the previous guy said. He pretty much summarized a lot of things I've looked into as well. Really interesting stuff. I want to kind of bring up one guy, though, Kevin Can. It's Can with a Cann. Is this guy who studies Platonic surrealism, is his kind of new idea framework for a lot of these weird metaphysical interactions. And I've done mushrooms. I've done a lot of different drugs. I've also, of course, told people who have been here before I've had weird experiences. I've been able to also use emotion and intent to do some very special and specific things. So I've kind of had a wide range of metaphysical experiences. I've also known friends who have done only mushrooms too much and have lost their lives because they couldn't get their own stuff together. A lot of these things I look at as tools, and they can be overused or underused just like anything else in the world. And there is going to be a whole new revolution of chemical science that's going to come about, and very related to the previous speaker when it comes to how basically like DNA and chemicals can be used as antennas to distribute our brain perception. But related to that angle of brain perception, Kevin Kahn has a very, I think, solid idea about how deception is kind of the rule with a lot of these things. They are perspectives of an angle, but in a way, they always lie. Even when it comes to, I've read a lot of books about people who have direct abduction experiences from good beings who have basically told them the whole story, as it were. But at the end, there are things that don't quite gel. There are things that seem odd or off, that basically you know they're lying in some way, or they're not being honest or being deceptive. White lies, you could say. And a lot of these deep phenomenons, when you take a heroic dose or take DMT, I've talked to a lot of people who have talked to the machine elves, who have talked to the entity known as Marvin. Multiple people have talked to the entity known as Marvin, who's supposedly an AI who overlooks the world, and basically his personality fits literally the same robot from a guide. What was it? A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Basically, it's very weird.
That's Grok, right? Isn't it Grok, or the term Grok came from there?
No, I think that was something else. But
Okay,
Marvin is a depressed robot, basically.
I see. It's okay. So that once again, that exact thing is the bizarre space of this. So you take this thing and again, undercooked or raw, and you see these tiny elves all over the place, and everybody sees them. Okay. It's not an isolated encounter. And what you're describing is exactly the same thing. It's got the same name. And it acts the same way. Like, what the hell? It almost feels as if we are channeling, right? Like that. I hate the term, but it doesn't it feel that way? It feels like we're contacting something else that's here, but not here. That unseen realm. It's a bizarre space to be in.
Yeah, and I mean, I've also someone who's induced visions in myself, and I've also summoned an orb using emotion and intent very strongly without using drugs. I will say, though, weaker drugs like marijuana and things like that can be used to manipulate your own emotions so that you can use it kind of like an arrow. You know, it's like putting your emotions in a sling and being able to throw it in the direction you want. Whereas if you didn't have that little assistance, you couldn't do that. In a way, mushrooms do that with different perspectives on your own mind. They're chemical antennas, I think, like the previous speaker was saying, that redirects how you see the world. But because it's only a perspective of the angle, it's kind of like a lie. It's not necessarily the truth. It's a reason it looks like a kaleidoscope is because it's actually not formative. It shows a skewed perspective of how the reality formates on itself in a way, if I had to explain it. So, that's why I think some people really lose themselves in it. And if people remember, if they read near the end of Terence McKenna's life, he wasn't necessarily happy.
Yeah, he was having some big time issues there from what I've read as well. And I do think, look, as usual, look, even in the AI space, like I'm not kidding you. It makes me 10 times smarter. Like in my downtime, I'm just kind of like easily coding stuff and like shipping products and building things. It's crazy, right? But you can get lost in it. Like it can literally turn you into a monster of your own making. And I think as usual, you describe tools in this case. I think anything, too much of any damn thing will turn you into a monster because it's almost as if we're sort of predisposed to becoming monsters. We just need to find the avenue to make it happen, right? And so back to that Stoic mindset is recognizing moderation, recognizing that these things are good, can be good, but these things, all of these things can be detrimental to the highest effect and destroy your life as well.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go that far because, you know, alcohol can literally kill you. No one's ever died from taking too much marijuana or mushrooms on their own without doing something to themselves, of course, you know. So we'll be equitable. I'd rather be fair in that regard. But having said that, we do live in a kind of an upside down time right now. I do believe in this concept called negative entropy and positive entropy. We basically live in the time of extreme positive entropy. We eat, we create heat. We destroy. Whereas in another time, we probably lived in a negative entropy type of mindset where everything was more reciprocal, communal, you know? So we have a false perspective of what it means to be human right now. I think this kind of in a way is the worst position humanity's ever been in. And people think it might get worse. We are worried about transhumanism, yada, yada. But like the previous speaker was saying, there is something to be learned from these materials, these chemicals. They give us a way to perceive that barrier, for sure, an angle, a stair step to start. But from what I've discovered, and related to this idea of deception regarding chemicals and control and autonomy of the self, but also trying to understand that maybe there's a higher being and purpose to this, whatever you want to call it, God, higher selves, whatever belief system you have, that these perceptual boundaries can be broken without any assistance at all. Because the truth of the matter is maybe the universe wants more universes, and the only way to get there is through responsibility and autonomy, which means you can do everything with nothing, which might be even scarier than we can imagine in its own way, but also freeing. It's just a thought to end my conversation on, I think.
No, it's okay. And that's exactly the point. Like, you got to be able to look at the world in different ways and recognize not just what's happening to you personally, but what's happening to all of us collectively, and be able to kind of pick these pieces apart and talk about it. I mean, look, like I said, we are so blessed to have such smart friends, you included, everybody that's been part of this tonight, all the people that have called in the past, all the amazing chatters out there talking about these ideas. It's complicated. Like, this stuff is not something you can just be like, well, here's your theory of everything and this will fix all. Stop it. Like, I get it mathematically, you know, it works on paper. Oh yeah. Have you met humans? Have you met humans at all? No, it doesn't work on paper at all. And so here we are trying to figure this out together. And that's the whole point. And so and counterpoint, well taken on the alcohol and all the rest of that stuff. But it works for, you know, ho-hos and Twinkies and you name it. Like, as usual, anything that's out there, you can get lost in. And that was really my point. But so I think we agree more than we disagree. But yeah, fire stuff, brother. What else you got? And what else you got?
Oh, well, I mean, man, what was I going to say? Oh, well, I mean, look into Kevin Can. He has videos on YouTube, really interesting. I don't think enough people give him any attention. And he's really unique. And I think kind of a centered, interesting perspective on both psychedelics, which he talks about. He makes connections to the mycelial network, as you were mentioning before, about how there's actually space pathways, kind of like Stargate, that are like mycelial networks through the universe, and that this whole as above, so below framework actually relates directly to mushrooms and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but he's one of those people. The reason I give him some credence is because, like me, he's discovered pathways to basically vision without any psychedelics whatsoever, which I think gives some credence to his words.
Yeah, that's the Carl Jung way, right? The Freud with the cocaine and the Carl Jung with the meditation, the breathing technique. it's like that. That's something like that, right? Like that. It's like, yeah, you know, you could do this too. But once again, so many different ways to access whatever that unseen realm is. That's the fascinating part to me. And I don't think you need to fry your brain to do it. And there's a lot of ways to fry
Kevin
your brain.
Can's a teetotaler. I didn't say that. He's a teetotaler. He doesn't touch any of it.
Okay. Yeah, even better. And then that's
which makes it interesting.
Yeah, right. So meaning you look at the Wim Hof and the breathing techniques and some of this other stuff that's like, okay, so if regular people can do these things and you don't need to touch any of this nonsense.
It's a control.
It's a control. Exactly. Control mechanisms is one of my favorite terms. I use it a lot.
No, scientifically, a control.
Oh, I see.
If we can compare someone who doesn't need it at all and get similar outcomes, we can scientifically have a control. We can have a non-biased control for psychedelic research.
I see. Okay. And I'm with you.
This is actually extremely important.
Big time important, because once again, that means you can throw all that stuff out, or at least not rely on it so much for a shamanic experience. 100%.
Well, we can remove the ineffability out of the equation, which is a big deal. I think we need to lock onto that. That's something I actually hadn't considered completely until I just mentioned it to you. But no, it actually, people like Kevin Can and people like myself who could maybe possibly, as they say, break the veil without assistance might be the controls we need to get science to move along. So that's actually a cool idea to end on.
Amen.
I think I'll go at that.
You were the best. Go follow Parker. Go follow Parker. Has your first video dropped? When it does, you better let me know. We'll share it in the Discord. Okay, I appreciate you very much.
I'm being terrible about it. I keep changing it, but yeah, I'll commit. I'm committing. I'll get it out.
Look, it's hard, man, and I've said this a lot. Like, and the reason, look, I could trim, the first 40% of the episodes of Troubled Minds, and you'd be like, wow, Mike's been good for a long time or whatever. And I'm pretty good. I'm not amazing, but I'm pretty good. But you know why? Because the first 40% of the shows were garbage. It was absolutely terrible. All the ums and all the ahs, all the fractured thoughts and all the dumb stuff. but I left it up there intentionally. Go back and listen to the first several episodes of Troubled Minds, and you'd be like, damn, I'm totally good. And you'll start releasing stuff. That's the reason I left it up. Not to be self-deprecating, but to recognize within ourselves, we have something greater. And if we don't put it out there, then it doesn't get out there.
Couldn't agree more.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Parker, go give him a follow. troubledminds.org/friends. Click on Parker. It'll take you straight to his YouTube channel. Looking forward to what he creates next. And he's having it hot on the new video, as we all do. I hemmed and hawed for 2 additional years before I started Troubled Minds, by the way. I was like, and I was always talking about him, and Mrs. Strange was like, why do you keep talking about this? Because I really want to do this. But I wouldn't do it. It was like kind of putting a toe, you're jumping into the cold water in the pool, right? Anyway, lots of amazing things have come as part of this. And like I said, I'm honored and blessed to be in the middle of this whirlwind of ideas and people and what's right and what's wrong. And recognize too, I want to point out something very, very interesting about that came to mind while Parker was talking. And one of the points I was making is, look, we actually can have too much of anything and it can destroy us, including too much truth. Okay. And recognize there's a lot of communities out there, whatever they are, like you choose them. It could be religious. It could be opposite. It could be political. It could be anything. But too much of that particular flavor of truth, because as we all know, let's be real, truth is a slippery fish, as I like to say. Too much of a flavor of truth can destroy you. Just be careful. As usual, look, moderation in all the ways, and it's important to recognize what's happening to us as people. We are malleable. We are influencers. We are also the influenced. It's important. This stuff is important to me, and it's what brings me back all the time to talk about these ideas, right, wrong, or indifferent. And that's that. James, what you got? Let's wrap this up.
Great calls from everyone. I'm just thinking, as you two were talking there and saying, wow, if only we had controls, people that had experiences without having to take anything to have them, and scientists could talk to them. Oh, wait. We've had them for a very long time, and we still have them, and more are coming, and posting about experiences every day, and talking about experiences on shows all the time. Funny how that's not still not being given much attention overall, just yet. Hopefully it does change, and that happens someday. So that was my last thought for that.
And I think the world is changing fast. We're gonna many of the things I think that were laughable in 1978 are not going to be laughable so much anymore. I think that's true. Not because, once again, pseudoscience as a term is laughable. I think that pseudoscience may have been onto something in a lot of ways that didn't really, was toes in the ocean, recognizing something that was out there that they couldn't quite quantify. Strap in. The world's about to get super weird. And like I said, like I keep saying, look, I'm here for it. I'm excited for the future. You know why? And I'll end with this. As I hit the button 3 times for it to actually take effect. I'll end with this. I'm excited for the future because it looks unlike anything we've ever seen at this point. Humans to this moment, for right or wrong, for better or worse, all the indifference aside, we're moving into a space that has never happened before. Well, I could, in my mind's eye, make that debate, but it's never happened before in modern times. I don't know. What comes next? Elon Musk is like, oh, we're just going to hand out money to everybody. And I'm like, you're the richest dude. If you ain't doing it yet, who's doing it? Right? Right? So we got there's some growing pains coming, obviously. But also, when all the work is done, what needs to be done? And how does that rob us of humanity? I don't know. It's an interesting conversation, at least in my head. Thank you again for staying up late and being part of this. Thanks for understanding that a Rodecaster update and a Windows update 15 minutes before showtime is horrific, but we figured it out. And like I said, 5 years ago, I was horrified. Absolutely just white as a ghost. Like, this is awful. I can't believe we're doing this. But now everything's been a disaster so often, many times over the years. Oh, well, we'll get them next time, right? Anyway, all that aside, thank you again for being patient and caring about these ideas, sticking with us, and understanding that I'm human too. Speaking of which, no troubled minds on Sunday. I'm going to be out of town. I've got things to handle, and they are important things. They are family things. But hopefully, and all my apologies for being flaky and all this stuff. It's not, I promise it's not like you think. All right? There's no dark night of the soul incoming. There's a lot going on, okay? So thank you for understanding. Thanks for caring. Thanks for recognizing that all of my blood, sweat, and tears over the years, I recognize has borne fruit. Not just for me, for you, and for all of us. I don't take that lightly. That's it. Soon we'll be back to regular mic. This mic is not the same mic. He's not the right mic. This mic is not in my head properly. So I need to recalibrate mic in my head. So that's coming soon. So please bear with me on that. That's it. Did I mention help our friends? troubledminds.org/friends. Click all the things. Look, there's 98% of that is all free. Please go make accounts on X, YouTube. If you haven't, follow these people and help us together, collectively. Like I said, this is not a troubled mind. This is troubled minds, plural. That's that. No troubled minds on Sunday. I'll be out of town. We'll see you on Tuesday, God willing. I'll be working on a show idea from now till then, so I don't have to scramble. Appreciate you very much. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. We'll fix it in post. Also, sorry for calling you squishy there, Hirsch. You guys are the best. We'll see you on Tuesday night, God willing. And thanks again. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being cool and chill. And we'll see you then.